meeting to order at 5:57. Because everybody's here. And Laurel, I'm doing a roll call. Pamela, Teresa, Stephanie, Iris is not here. It's not a 12-day cruise. She'll be back tomorrow. Jennifer, Melanie, Nettie is not here. Me, Danielle, Susan, Nettie, and Iris.
Must be something.
Angela and Laura. Do we have a quorum?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay.
All right.
And then public invited beer. Oh, look at this.
Hey, she's back. You made it.
Just a
Just
second.
Pull up a chair. I thought you were fly fishing.
A few days
Keep
ago.
up with my agenda.
Susan's here.
It's my kid that's fly fishing, and then you go later.
There's my girl.
When you get back, remind me that.
I don't, did you turn it on? Hello.
Now it's on.
There we go. Okay. Sorry, Susan.
I'm just poking you.
Do you need an agenda?
I do.
I got you.
Is that
Me for a second. This isn't, that's one I need
Oh,
Okay,
okay,
minutes.
never
So that's
mind.
actually
Yeah.
minutes.
to sign.
Oh, that's minutes, okay, never mind.
I'm putting it in front of my face so I don't forget about it.
Okay, got it.
I don't
Sounds
know what
good.
you're gonna look at the
minutes.
Oh,
He says
Oh.
the paper piece. Yeah.
We don't have minutes. Oh, here, that's so cool. Here we have one.
So, Melanie, my sweater looks great. You've been working on that during the meetings, weren't you?
I think I was.
I know, I remember the color. It looks
It's
great.
a touch
Oh my
warm, but I'm
gosh,
trying to get as much
look at
use out of it as I can.
Absolutely,
Thank you. I
absolutely.
love this color.
Gorgeous.
I'm using the rest for a sock.
Next one. One sock or two?
2 socks. Yeah.
You know,
Wow,
when my daughter was
neat.
little, we bought these socks that were called Little Mismatch. Because we could not ever keep them straight anyway, like we'd always lose one to the pair, so it was great because they were like made to be just mismatched.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was clever.
back to the agenda.
Yep.
Is Audrey, they're gonna show up?
They're intending to show up, but they said they would be late.
Okay, we'll just bump that until we have someone to be heard.
Or we can take it down to commissioners' comments at the end of the meeting.
Would be appropriate.
Do we want to add Marla? Yes, of course.
And we have a guest, Marla.
Yes. What's your last name, Marla?
Morris.
Okay, so the June 15th minutes, any corrections? Did anybody look at it? All
I
look
did.
good? I did too. All look good to me. Anybody
Good
else?
job, Laura.
Excellent. So, we
What? Oh,
Oh my gosh, should I
hooray!
just leave? There's no place for me to sit.
No.
Iris is here.
We'll squeeze you down.
Yeah. Wheel it in. How's it
Alright,
go?
just
Free cup,
make
free
me a
cup,
liar.
just down.
Nettie's not here.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Danielle is not here.
Danielle.
Sorry.
Do you want me to come and bring colored pencils? This could be the Zen doodle side of the table.
I'm into it, I'm into it.
Alright, what did I do wrong? Did it not turn on ever?
Love it. I know.
It's on.
It was on. No. I know it was.
Okay.
Alright, she needs a gavel.
I need a gavel. So, I need a motion to approve the minutes.
I move that we approve the minutes.
I second.
Stephanie and second by Pamela. All in favor of approving the minutes? Yes. So, additions and corrections to the agenda.
Yes, I am going to remove 12B, which if you have an agenda that I just printed out, you're not gonna see it
Okay.
because I'm removing it.
Mhm.
And I do think that we should add instead the equity training that Jennifer, Laura, and myself attended, which there is going to be another one come August. As I understand.
New business equity meeting?
Yes, please, on B, 12B.
Oh,
It's an import source, that's my problem. And I don't,
AGA.
you asked me which one it is, but I wish I could tell you.
Okay.
HDMI 1
All right, council comments, Sean McCoy.
is
He had his knee replaced last week, so.
for Sean, and he lost his father.
Yeah.
So, he's,
Oh no, this must be so crushed.
but I did send a card on behalf of the museum and Art and Public Places because, as you know, his father was instrumental in establishing this program for the city.
Wow.
So,
Art and Public Places.
Yeah.
in the 80s, so pretty massive loss for the community. And I wish I could tell you more, but I just don't know. And if I can find the obituary, I'm happy to share it.
I'm sure we. Oh, I have it.
Do you have it?
Paper. I
Right.
don't have it. I'm sure we can find it.
I could probably digitally get it.
Yeah.
I
I can
got
find
my
it.
iPad.
Is
What's
that,
just
can
in the
I
Longmont
discuss that
Club?
for 1 second?
Please, by all
The
means.
death of his father? If he was instrumental in putting this, making us happen, is there something more we can do to commemorate him?
Maybe at a later date, after we think about it for a while. I can't come up with anything right off the top of my head. Can anybody else?
The next big project we have, like perhaps
Yeah,
if we have selection panel or whatever, we could have one thing be in honor of so
yeah, that would be good. Yeah.
Something,
something
as long
like
as
that.
we're open to discussing it.
I mean, there's
We're doing a
always,
dedication next week.
that's true, we
not
can
bad.
mention it at the dedication.
Mention it.
There's a lot going on in that dedication.
Yeah.
I think
That's-
we wanna
That's
make
kind
it,
of
It's our project.
Yeah. I think that, you know what, I think that the executive team can talk about that when we have our meeting. Okay, so on to number 7, shock art, which is going strong.
gangbusters.
We have about between 700 and 800 ballots so far.
Is the online working yet?
Is it online?
So yes, it's working. Like, I didn't have a problem with it, my husband didn't have a problem with it, the comms team's not having problems with it, and then there are random people that call us and they're like, we can't figure it out. So every time we get an inquiry of someone who's having a problem, we just tell them to email us, and that's how we're receiving it and making it fair. If it's not going to be that way, that there's a direct line of receiving the same information, then we have to cut all online altogether, because it can't be a United States voting situation where people are like questioning if voting is legitimate and all of those things. We already have enough challenges as it is to legitimize. But yes, I think we've come up with a creative solution that's working. But we still, I look at you, Laura, but I mean, I don't know what the problem is. The only thing I can figure is because we've reused the same template, that maybe there's a ghost in the machine.
Or that somebody might have a really
What
old
is the
computer.
URL for it?
What's
And
that?
What is the
software
URL?
doesn't.
It's a Survey Monkey. It's a, who knows what it is.
There's
It's a
also
bit-
like so many other things that
Yeah.
come into a browser, like caching cookies and all those things that, like, you know, sometimes using your phone versus a desktop. We found desktop works better, but not everybody has access to a desktop, so their phone is usually the thing they use.
But how do
I
you
have no
find
idea.
the URL for voting?
We publish it on Facebook, and then I
It's
also
on our
put
webpage.
a QR code at the voting in person so that it would jump to the Survey Monkey.
So is it like on the webpage or there?
Yes.
It's on the webpage,
Yeah.
not the QR code.
I
QR
looked
code.
on the
There's a
webpage
link on the webpage
like
that
twice
takes you
and
straight to
couldn't
it.
find it.
Well, let's find it.
Yeah.
So I've been entering names, and really, if I spend more than 2 minutes trying to decipher somebody's name or email, I just put it aside, because I don't have time.
Yeah.
Also, sometimes kids cannot count to 5, and I had one last night that had 10 things circled. I'm like, you know what? I'm giving it to them. There are lots of people that only vote for one thing. I'm like, a little bit.
Get on it.
Wash out the balance.
So it won't make any difference.
So you can always count, you really can't always.
I mean,
Most
where do you
times
cut, where do you
You
say,
can
no,
tell.
I'm not gonna count this one, not gonna count this one?
As long as we can say hello, we are a full group, so come on in and come on up to the table.
Okay, shocker.
You don't get to sit in the back. You got to sit around the
Yeah,
table.
you're gonna come up here.
This is one from last year.
Just stay close to each other.
Yeah. This is
Okay,
not
so
normally
here's
our
the page.
MO, so we're
Here's the page, okay?
yeah.
I haven't gotten to
We
the
more
ballots
ready.
yet, but there it is. Okay, let's see, shock art voting, and then there we go, right to the survey.
So
Okay.
That's why we
Yeah.
have personal browser history, 50 seconds that keep you from getting it.
Now,
This is last year?
no,
No,
this is this
right,
year,
that's right.
and it's just, if it's like last year, it's just, randomized, so every time you bring it up, it's in
every
a different
time
order.
you
Oh, that's
do it,
interesting.
it's in a different order.
Oh, that's
So you go to 2023
So
shock
these are
art,
all in.
and it says
thumbnails,
online
yeah.
voting portal can be visited by finding.
I
Here
think
you are.
if you,
Stephanie,
all that, yeah.
www.surveymonkey.com
Okay,
/r/shock art 2023. You go into it and it pops up. It asks you your information. Would you like your e-newsletter? And as soon as you start, you can pop open what it looks like.
I don't
Straight.
remember that one.
I do.
Yeah.
No.
And then you click on it and it votes. And like
Remember
it's
them all.
for some browsers, it's working absolutely fine, just like this.
Yeah, exactly.
And in some browsers, supposedly, you click to vote on one of them, and it shuffles, and something weird happens.
Oh,
But every browser and every
So click on the CL sides of one of them so we can see what happens, please.
it opens up just.
These are beautiful, whoever's
They're so
took the
cool.
pictures.
I took the pictures, but I didn't edit out the backgrounds. That was
Yeah,
the comms
comms
thing.
team went back through
Well,
and
they look
changed.
beautiful.
They really
So
do.
I mean,
The titles are cool.
there's only so much we can do with available resources and staff time to execute this. And this will beg the question, and frankly, not at this meeting, but another. The online voting was born out of COVID. Is it appropriate anymore?
Mm.
I don't know the answer, so I put that bee in your bonnet for you to think about as we go through this. When we start quantifying
Okay.
the ballots and participation, we can pull analytics if who's participating from online versus in person in town. How much of the online is from out of town? I can't tell you. It is the majority or minority, in fact. More people are voting from in town online versus out of town. But that balance of in person versus online, I don't know and I can't tell you. But we can pull all the numbers, look at the data, and you can make an informed decision. But this always and every year, people have so many questions about online and its fairness and and then of course the task force will be charged with going through checking our in-person ballots versus and against our online ballots and making really hard decisions about throwing them out when there are, multiple IP addresses that vote over and over again with a, different email. There's clear cues when people are trying to stuff ballots, and those are the decisions that the task force has to make.
Sure.
So anyway, but here it is, and I again, the comms team, myself, Laura, a number of staff members have spent far too much time problem solving this, and it's working fine for everyone who's ever tried it. So
I like to go and see them in person anyway. I mean, if it was really a bummer and I couldn't get out, I'd do it online, but I really like to see them in person.
Yeah.
And I have to think of it.
So, and I don't know, in the past, my predecessor, they did a postcard that like you could vote and drop off at the museum that had pictures of them. But that was, I think, before we had 33 entries.
I don't think I ever got that.
Yeah. So
But that was before.
we've sent out a postcard since I started, there's 20 years before that.
Yeah.
But we sent out a postcard with the winners.
Oh, right,
Did
I get those for sure. Yeah, I do get those.
So.
Yeah.
anyway, so lots to think about.
Okay.
So notes on the July 8th event?
Yeah, so Angela and I split our time. I took the first half and I worked with Teresa and then Jennifer arrived, and then I left when Angela got there. It was kind of a crummy day, so we had like kind of influx of people coming in and out depending on how nice it was outside. But for the most part, we did get a fair amount of people to engage because we said, hey, hi, would you like to vote? / I said, do you have an opinion on art? Come on in.
Yeah, we got a
They
lot.
were like, yeah, I have opinions.
We got a lot of people at the end.
Yeah,
We
okay,
really
good.
did, yeah, we really did.
But yeah, it's just funny giving permission to people and or just asking them, hey, do you want to vote? Do you have 5 minutes? Like, oh yeah, of course. Like, it's
The
just
kids
crazy.
were real excited about it,
Yeah.
actually, most of the time.
So I think the event went well. I didn't really notice anything that was affected by the art walk per se. Yeah, I mean, I've been going every so often to drop new ballots off and then fixing the boxes, but I think it's been going okay. We are done this Saturday, and so I was wondering if anybody had time to pop over to see if they could get the last rallying votes in. It's cool if you don't.
I will.
You'll do it?
Yeah.
And I don't have a sign up for it right now, but it would be nice to just kind of have a little bit of
Yeah, I can
grassroots.
come like from 3 to 6. if
Yeah,
that's
however
okay.
long you want to do it for.
Sure.
But yeah, I think that would be super helpful to get our last votes in. And actually, voting ends at 4, so you could probably just do 2 to 4.
Okay, I'll do, yeah, or maybe 1 to 4.
Whatever,
But
yeah.
Okay, it stops at 4, okay. All right. I kind of like hustling people and getting them to vote.
Again, sometimes just saying, hey, do you want to do this?
Yeah.
They'll do it. If you don't say anything, then they'll just walk by it and get their boba tea and be gone.
Yes, I know.
I wonder if maybe next year we can change the ballot a little bit to say, I'm a kid. Because people are really confused about that. And.
Oh, I actually
they've been-
have a space that says I'm a kid that
Yeah,
can
just
check.
like a little X box or something.
I
Okay.
just worry about
Other people taking advantage of that, I know. But maybe if we,
Can you tell though with the handwriting or not
sometimes,
really?
sometimes you can, sometimes mom fills it out. But sometimes you can tell.
Is there a reason we would need to do?
I can't.
Is there a reason why we need to know if it is a kid?
Well, kids generally don't have email addresses. Or they have their mothers who, and so mom comes in with 6 kids and then you have 7 of the same email addresses and those will get thrown out. So that's why we have a column that says to click for it being a kid. But
That makes sense.
for some reason, they've been writing I'm a kid on the email address and that's
because
been-
I told them to.
Yeah.
Because when we're in
Yes.
person, I'm like, you're a kid. Instead of email, write I'm a kid, and on one of you see Angela's kid and
Yeah,
Joe's kid, and like
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
and that works really well, but I don't know, we can talk about it, but
yeah.
just something to think about because
Yeah.
some of them you just can't tell.
Okay.
Alright. I can be there on the 24th for sure, maybe on the 22nd,
I
But
definitely
not
need
entering.
you on the 24th.
and we're gonna do it at 10,
Yeah, and I moved the pickup to 10:30.
okay,
10:30?
for
Okay.
picking up the tables.
Yeah, we just need to clear
We
out the
need
boxes.
to
and
clear out the
everything.
boxes and the butcher paper. Okay.
I'll try and come at 10. I definitely will help set up for the butterfly pavilion.
Okay, we'll get there.
Yeah, I know. That one.
Yeah, and that's different sites,
I know.
so.
Okay,
So before we go any further, not to interrupt you, but maybe we should revert back to public invited to be heard before we move on to Commissioner's choice, if that is okay with you,
Sure.
Yeah.
Madam
Works for me.
Chair.
So when you're setting up at the butterfly pickup, we're talking about the butterfly?
no, we're not
We
talking
will-
about that,
we
we're
will
talking about
get-
shocker.
We'll get there. We're
Well,
talking
we're not there yet.
Okay. Tell me when we're there.
Okay.
Well,
All right. So should we go back?
Yeah, sure.
yes, let's go back to public invited to be heard. I assume this is Audrey.
This is Audrey.
Yes,
Welcome.
Well, hi.
Do you want to introduce yourself and say how we've met and
Okay, so
why you're here? and-
I'm Audrey Atkinson. I have a day job. I'm a realtor, but I also have been a big fan of art in public places my entire adult life, and I see the importance of it. I was telling Angela today as we were getting to know each other that I was a working musician for many years, And so art is very, very important to me, and I know what it does to uplift the soul, you know. So to that end, rather than write a song about it, I'm going to tell a different kind of story, and I'm just going to start filming a documentary about art and public places.
Oh,
So
interesting.
it's going to focus on the shock art, but I'm also going to film, you know, some muralistic work and you know, some of the statues that we have in town and things of that nature. But yeah, so basically it's just going to be a love letter to the Art and Public Places program.
Have you been cleared by the whatever that needs to be cleared by?
You know what?
Because
Nope. Independent documentaries. I said, you know, we're an open book. I said this is an
okay.
open meeting, and
Yeah,
So she doesn't have to be cleared?
no, you know what?
Cool.
We just if it's outside of our realm, and
yeah.
public art is public art. It's people's collection.
yeah.
So
Oh, okay.
But as I get on and everyone gets to know me a little better and start hopefully to trust me, if there's ever an opportunity for me to like film at one of these meetings or something like that, I would love to do that as well.
Sure.
With no promise that it would make it into the final edit, but you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is not going to be like gotcha journalism. This is a love letter.
As a suggestion, Sean McCoy is our council liaison, but his father, Tom McCoy, was instrumental in starting it.
Yeah.
So talk with Sean.
I will talk with Sean, absolutely.
great.
Okay.
And Marla, you're invited to be here too.
Hey, I'm
Hey.
super excited when I'm in town to come to this because I lived for many years in Fort Worth, which is a big public space for art, and started studying it in the 80s. So I love what y'all are doing. It's super exciting.
Well, thank you for coming back. Awesome. All right. With that, should we cut film? See ya, film. Because
Cut
we're gonna
film.
move on to Commissioner's Choice.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
So are we like
Yeah,
temporarily
so-
adjourning the meeting?
Nope. We're just not allowing this to be
It can't be.
filmed because
Yeah, I can't because
we
it's
need to be
secret.
under contract with these people first.
Yes, I
And
know.
yep, we can get it.
Okay.
And I'll let you know when we can come back on.
So,
That's how come it
now,
looks like a
Laurel?
sandwich. Yes.
we're at the butterfly pavilion,
Okay, this is, okay.
and Angela's gonna talk about it.
Unless
Okay.
you have, unless you want to start, by all means.
What I want to say is, why don't we take the Longmont bus and we all get on it and go to the butterfly pavilion as a group of commissioners?
Because it's a lot easier for me to just drive 2 blocks than it is to drive all the way down to the
Well, we can meet you
station.
there.
Yeah.
You don't have to
That's
come
fine.
in
Are
to
you
go
near
out.
Lake Magnosh?
Yes.
Oh, I am too.
I know, we live really
Yeah,
close
yeah.
together.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
not a problem.
So, yeah, so it's a lot easier for me to just go
But if there is a group, I don't know the bus schedule. Do you know the bus schedule?
every hour.
Is there a drop off right by
It's on,
Flanders
it's
Park?
Friday, yeah, maybe every
Oh,
hour.
I was thinking about the
Oh,
van.
The van won't get to.
yes. So while that is a lovely sentiment, and I would love to take the van and drive,
To be the school bus driver.
we will also have 4 tents and at least 3 tables.
Okay.
And
fruit
I have
cups.
and fruit cups, and I just don't see the availability.
Okay.
Although I can ask one of my city partners, my museum staff partners, and I will inquire and I will let you know by noon on Tuesday. At noon on Tuesday, I will let you know if I can get a AIPP
It's fun.
designated shuttle leaving from here, the museum.
Mhm.
It would leave at 3:30 p.m. and it would take you to the dedication so you can be there in time to glad hand and say thank you to the mayor and all of that. And then dedication will be from 5 until 6 p.m. and then it will bring you home back between 5:30 and 6 back to the museum. Sound good?
Yeah.
I will do my best. Laurel, excellent suggestion, although
Okay.
while it cannot be me or Laura, because we're schlepping,
Yeah, what time do I
Or
need for
Cindy or
setup?
myself,
yes, you're busy
because
too.
we'll be there naturally.
Yeah, what time do you need set up help?
So Laura and I are going to be there at 2 o'clock.
Okay.
I think that's when we were gonna start setting up.
Yeah, so we're gonna have to figure out if we can park. Does everybody know the site,
Yep.
or do you want me to pull it up?
No,
Okay. So on the west side of where Flanders Park is, there's a walkthrough to the neighborhood. We're probably gonna park right there, not in the bike lane, or just very shortly in the bike lane, to then schlep all the stuff out of my car, and then set up tents, set up tables. It'll probably take us an hour, and then one of us will probably have to run back to the museum to get the refreshments, which the refreshments, thank you very much, task force, decided on Mexican fruit cups with like jicama and mango and melon with tahini on top,
Oh, no.
and then also a either crudité or
Regular fruit cup.
American
America.
imagined
Fruit cocktail. I
Carrot.
thought it was gonna be a
Cocktail.
I thought it was gonna be vegetable.
It's not. It's fruit and fruit.
Fruit and fruit is good, especially in this weather.
We got bids, and we went with a, I think, very reasonable cost per unit. For
Yeah, not bad, and also they do a good job. So, and I know, so
it'll be good. And then water.
Okay, sure.
So I just have to mention I won't be able to do that. I
Okay.
have a class in month like that.
Okay.
I'll come and then I'll
There you go. Yeah, but if you can come to the dedication, again, the remarks will start at 5 p.m. I will figure out the shuttle piece of it. But backing up just a little bit, if you have not been over there, thank goodness. Thank you very much for the rain, and thank you for stopping the rain so we could pour concrete. So concrete got poured, stamps are in. Think that they look very nice. The concrete contractor who knows all about concrete stamping did a good job. I don't know, it's easy to be critical of those kinds of things, but then again, like, what would I have done would have probably been gaudy and too much. So I think that they were very thoughtful and it was lovely. It's a small pavilion. It's not a giant pavilion.
So we're underwhelmed.
The concrete size is just, I don't know, like 111 inches seems kind of small.
Like,
yeah,
small.
Kind of feels a little tiny.
I have
Concerns that with the benches inside, with the seats inside, that you won't be able to get a wheelchair into the doors.
It's supposed to be ADA compliant, and so come Monday when we are installing, the rubber is going to meet the road, and I'll be there all day lifting and schlepping and forklift driving and all of the things. So we'll see how it goes. That said, we're starting at 9 a.m. From 9 a.m. probably till about 11 is likely going to be strategy and figuring out how we're going to do what we're about to do. There'll be a lot of drilling, and glue drying takes time, those kinds of pieces. But I need site monitors, so that is on the Sign Up Genius for all the volunteer opportunities. You would want to bring shade, you will want to bring chair, you will want to bring water and your snacks and all of the things. But really just, we're gonna cordon off the site and basically say, please don't go within this area, and here's what's going on, and you can expect this, that, and the other thing. Here are some invitations to the event. So that said, once we get it installed, I'll take pictures and send it to you. Yeah, at this point in time, it's, I don't know, 18-inch bench is it's not a big bench, but it's ADA, the whole thing is ADA compliant. So it should measure out.
Yeah, there has to be 36 inches between the benches then.
It doesn't work that way,
the bench
but
goes around.
round.
I'm just worried about the corner of the bench. But we'll see.
We will see. So luckily, the design has been through structural engineering.
Oh, okay.
It's been through risk management. It's been through ADA compliant. Like, all the people who stamp and do these kinds of things blessed it, and it's on its way. So it'll be what it is.
so the pieces are all completed and it's just going to be
Assembled on site. Yep.
So you need to sign up for the Monday, the 24th?
Yes,
On the
so
sign up, okay.
So while Lara and team are breaking down shock art, I will be at Flanders Park with the artist, her art handler, our art handler, equipment. We'll be moving plywood, so as we bring the forklift onto the site, we have new sod, and even if we didn't have new sod, we'd be doing it anyway to disperse the weight of the 17,000 pound forklift.
Mhm.
So we have to be basically taking plywood and putting it in front and like moving it around, and it takes forever. And yeah, it's just gonna be, it's a construction site is what it'll be.
Right.
Is the sod gonna be ready?
Sod's in.
Okay, so, but usually it's like 2 weeks before they want you to walk on it.
Yep, he said it will be rooted and lovely.
Okay, cool, excellent.
I think we're in good shape.
Volunteer slots for Monday, not talking about Friday, are 2 hour slots, 9 to 11, 11 to 1, 1 to 3, 3 to 5.
Mhm.
So just FYI. if
Okay,
you
and
have
there's
any time.
there's like no there's just sitting in a chair, watching them do the work and handing out invitations to anybody that walks by and says, what's going on here?
And making sure that the person who says what's going on here is talking to you and not to me.
And there are a lot of people that walk around that park, so there are gonna be a lot of
A lot.
people looking and gawking, and you just say, hey,
I
this
know
is
what
blah
to
blah
do,
blah.
Yeah.
Well, in the morning, which you don't have to double dip. That's fine. But yeah, we're gonna be doing that. Angela's gonna be doing the hard work, and then I'm gonna come by with my water and probably some snacks and be like, oh hi.
How
are you? It's
Paper empanadas.
Art installation day is my Christmas actually, but it's gonna be problem solving and
It's okay.
we're gonna be we'll figure it out.
Massive problem solving.
Or as I like to call it, puzzle solving.
Right, it's an opportunity. So, and then our program is set. Carmen Ramirez is going to be the MC of our program. It goes from Carmen to talking to Janice, who is the president of Longmont Sister Cities Association. Janice is going to then introduce Susan. Susan is going to be speaking on behalf of Art and Public Places. Thank you very much, Susan. And then Susan is going to introduce the mayor. Mayor Peck is going to then
just slow down a little bit.
Oh, you don't need to type all of this.
Okay.
Yeah, no. I'll send the program to you. Mayor Peck is going to then do the dedication, and she's going to introduce the mayor of Ciudad Guzman, who is in town.
Oh, wow.
He will probably say a couple of words. And and then Mayor Peck is going to thank a bunch of people. Then introduce the mayor of Guzman, and then in conclusion, either Courtney Michelle, the vice chair of Sister Cities, or two students who have participated in an exchange will be reading the poem that Courtney Michelle wrote for Sister Cities 5 years ago. And the entire thing is going to be in English and Spanish simultaneously. So English will be spoken, and then the translator, who is from Sister Cities, will then be translating immediately into Spanish. So
entire program will be English and Spanish.
correct, everything bilingual. So, so in brief, that's what you're looking at. We're trying to move it along, but
So you say dedication starts at 5.
at 5. The event starts at 4, but the dedication remarks start at 5. Yeah. Bring your own chair, or your blanket, or your umbrella, or all of those things. So action items I have is to figure out a shuttle, and if I can pull that off. If I did, who would participate on a shuttle at 3:30 here from the museum? Anybody? Laurel. All right, I will see if then there would be other people who would join that shuttle. Imagine that there might be.
I might.
But I figured,
actually
Probably need to be there.
I definitely feel like though there is limited parking. FYI, that is the other
way
thing.
limited parking.
So carpooling is great.
but if you
It's
park
just-
over by the tennis courts and just walk over.
Yeah.
You could,
That's
but
right.
that's
There's
HOA, and you will be.
Oh, don't park there.
I wouldn't.
Oh.
And do not park in a bike lane. That is way against law.
Just FYI, Sister Cities estimated 130 to 150 people they're bringing. Okay, lots of kids,
Okay,
but
well,
they're, so that parking lot is gonna completely fill up.
I wonder if you did a shuttle, could you let sister cities know and people could all meet at the museum and then it could take off from the museum?
Yeah, I can investigate.
Could there be a
I
second
don't-
stop downtown? Like
Yeah, I mean, we can just make up shuttle. Let's do it, guys. It's all right. It's all right. I can do shuttles. All right, so
you know,
a shuttle. Okay, so a shuttle with a stop at the museum, and if it were to be somewhere else, where else would it stop?
something like 14th and Main or 14th and Kimber or something.
Whatever
place where
sister
there's
cities
parking.
might suggest, yeah.
Roosevelt. How about Roosevelt?
Yeah.
What about the Memorial Building?
That'd be fine.
Okay, so the museum and the Memorial Building, and it'll be a shuttle, and they will leave at 3:30. Maybe it would just be one for each, and it'll be a red shuttle and a blue shuttle, and it'll be, I don't know, I'll figure it out. Okay, I cannot promise this. I will do my best. It was a very excellent suggestion
It is a good
as we, I wouldn't have even thought of it, and these are the things we need to be thinking about. Okay.
Has Sister Cities bringing 130 people thought about a way
Yeah.
to get all of them?
Yeah.
Because
They
there's
have-
gonna be the
A
trick.
lot of them
Is there
are
a way to
children.
communicate to them?
Yep.
This option?
You know,
Yeah.
Angela
Well, the
does a-
shuttle, how big is the shuttle? 40 seats?
Like
Tops.
like
30,
no,
12?
like 14.
Oh,
I
so
was
there's
gonna
very limited, the
Yeah.
shuttle is not big.
You could
14
do,
is like what, 7 or 10 cars, depending on how many people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
So you could go
Yeah.
to the Safeway at 17th, right, and Hover, which is relatively close. And then there's plenty of parking there, and then people could hop on, you could make a shuttle trip, come back, make another shuttle trip.
Yeah, let me
So
see what I
you
can
don't
do.
have a parking problem in the,
Right.
close to the installation.
My challenge with like coming up with creating a shuttle situation is I'm representing the city, and me just like going to Safeway and being like, hey Safeway, I'm using your parking lot. Probably is more of a conversation than me being able to do the Memorial Building and museum. Like that's
City
for a
Park.
fairly heavy lift, that is easier for me, but I will investigate. I mean,
Well,
I know
there's
the
the-
Memorial Building and the museum are still fairly close, right?
So there's the ballpark up there too, right?
Oh, yeah,
Right.
yeah. What
And
is the
that's
other
fine.
Garden acres.
garden acres?
So there's lots of parking there, so,
Okay, that's a good
just
one. Is
thinking
there
about,
other?
like, if you wanted to shuttle 130 people, you don't wanna come all the way back to the museum every time,
Yeah,
right?
well, I mean, I think that it'll be like, they'll have cars with the families in it, and, but I'm just saying that there's gonna be a lot of people there, and the parking lot is gonna fill up. What about the parking lot by the, power plant there? That's a.
Oh,
It's so tiny.
Oh, by the
Yeah.
farm, what's the farm called, on 66?
It's the
Oh, the
heritage.
heritage stuff.
They don't have very much.
No,
They
they
don't have a
yeah.
lot either, and
older.
it's quite a
It's not-
walk
yeah.
from there.
It's a big,
to
big
Planter
walk.
Field.
It's a long walk.
It's a walk.
All right, well, it is certainly worth investigating, and yeah, let me see what I can do. Don't shrug your shoulders. It was a great.
I
It
didn't
was
know
a
you- yeah.
great. It's excellent. We need to consider multimodal. We have got to consider.
Yeah,
It's a very, very valid point, and
It
I will do everything I can to make something
Cool.
happen. But I am going to have to lean on other staff members because I myself will not be able to do it. And typically, if it's just us, like we can totally nail it. But
And what time would you like me to handle it? Sorry, Susan there?
3:30.
On Friday.
Oh, you don't want us there earlier?
You want to come earlier? Come earlier. Yeah.
Okay, do you want us, or do you want me to help you here and schlep stuff from the museum that you're taking?
Loading
over
isn't
there?
a problem. It's unloading. So if you want to be there
Okay.
as early as 2:30, that would be amazing.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that would be.
At the
I'll
park.
be
Yes, please.
At the
Okay.
park at 2.
Yeah.
I'll be there at 2.
All right.
Yeah, your parking's better.
Any other questions related to Butterfly Pavilion Fund? And I wish I could, I don't speak Spanish, I wish I could say what it is. The artist will also be there, she is very honored.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Okay.
Oh, no, bring it.
All right.
Melanie actually speaks.
So,
Spanish.
and the volunteers for site monitoring, the sign up is in a Survey Monkey that, no,
Oh,
it's
sign
in
up.
a.
It's a sign up. Yeah.
It's a
And I
sign up.
sent an email
Just the other day,
on Monday
Yeah.
with the agenda.
We'll resend it.
Yeah.
so,
Okay, and that day, and you're right, and I'm.
so you can sit there and knit, ladies.
Yeah, and talk to people.
That's right.
Jennifer's favorite thing.
Kiss me a fish.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
I'll try to get there. I'll try to take it later.
next on the agenda is the project update, Unity GWS project. What's GWS?
UWS is Growing Water Smart. Growing Water Smart is the turf reclamation project the
Okay,
city is doing. So there has been some headway there. So the day after our dedication, we will be having an event in
there,
Kensington Park. Yes.
Yes.
But really, it is going to be hopefully Meet the Artist. Mario has not confirmed, but I'm hoping that he does. He is working with Annie Burrows, who is a Denver Botanic Gardens horticulturist, who is bringing some garden concepts to the Kensington community and saying, what would you like this turf reclamation then to look like? Would you like it to be country chic? I'm making this up. Country chic, or modern Madonna, voguey pinkies, or whatever, however landscape architects design their gardens.
classic
Yes.
English herbals.
Yes,
made.
exactly. That's exactly. So she's gonna come with these concept designs for what the xeriscape would kind of look like, and then the hope is that through Wayne Tomac and community neighborhood resources, that they've reached out into the community far enough that they're bringing them in to say, what do you want this to look like? And then, of course, the next piece of this is that that everyone who comes will vote on, we want it to look like this, all blues, or I don't know what it'll be.
So we're gonna set up a tent there,
We will be there.
and is it gonna be right there at the artwork?
Yes,
Okay.
right at the artwork.
Okay.
And they will also have across the street at the pavilion, and it'll kind of be twofold. But then they'll show, this is where we're cutting the turf out. This is how much square footage we're getting back. This is and eventually they'll get all the data points. Like, this is how much water we're saving.
This is actually one of my questions, which is how much of that corner are they planning on cutting?
Significant.
Really?
Yes.
Okay,
so
so
this
this
is-
is,
we were gonna do the brick around it.
Yes.
this is on Long's Peak at Kensington Park.
Yeah.
Yes.
On one side of the street is the big pond,
Yes.
the other side, and there's a pavilion, and then on the other side is the mosaic
Yes. And so
The
the
basketball court.
and the basketball court.
And so with our participation of all, when we talk about here in the city about the different silos and different departments and people not really actually working together, this is the perfect example of us breaking down all the walls. So Art in Public Places is working with the sustainability people, we're working with the Parks Department, we're working with GIS, because we're talking about pollinators, and then of course the educating of and community neighborhood resources in educating people about how they can save water. So it actually is like the brilliant, most perfect kind of intersection of all these things coming together, and it protects our artwork, which has been damaged by mowers for how many years? So the city applied for state dollars and was awarded state dollars. And so as I understand, this is the pilot, and if we can find ways for public art to be an education point for some of this work and to get the community excited about water savings, then we might partner with these folks again. They'll come and talk with you about, potential projects and what that could look like.
So what time is this on Saturday?
4 to 6.
In the afternoon.
It would be helpful if the time was on your agenda.
And is Wayne gonna be a part of that?
Wayne is going to be a part of it. Yep.
Awesome.
Yep. He'll be there. Hope will be there, who is the water smart guru for town. Parks will be there. Yeah, it'll be really
So that
great.
really, yeah, that's nice.
It's a big deal, and of course, as you may know, of course, there was another shooting in the park.
Like Saturday night.
No one was hurt.
Yeah.
And as I understand, the community is not in danger. Then, that said, this community, the city has tried very hard to find ways for the coming together, and so this is yet another.
And we've got our art on the move artwork down there at the end,
Off
July
off
3rd, yeah. So.
Yep.
Excellent.
So 4 to 6, and you don't need to do anything except for show up
Okay.
anytime within that bundle of
Do
time.
you help setting up the tent or anything?
There's enough boots on the ground, and frankly, I'm
There's
already
quite a
asking a
lot of-
lot of you on Friday.
There's quite a lot of shade in that area too.
There's, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
there is, yeah.
It should be nice. But then the Saturday the 23rd is the planting party.
In
They're calling
September.
it September 23rd. It's called They're calling it Plant by Numbers, which is so cute. So cute. So at that point, Annie will have come to us with the design, and she will have talked with Mario. They'll talk about what it's going to look like, and then the event itself is still coming into focus. I understand that plants are actually kind of hard to get, like Plant Select and Water Smart plants in the fall.
No,
Because-
they've got garden in a box, that's probably what they're using.
No. This is completely its own thing.
Xerox thing,
Mhm.
okay.
But just because Plant Select people like actually buy them up really, really fast, being able to acquire that many plants, depending on which direction they go,
Yeah.
in this short amount of time is kind of is a question mark. But anyway, it's going to be fun nonetheless. So if you would, I will just put it on your calendar. Don't know the times,
So
but
Angie,
there it is.
So just the Saturday the 29th.
23rd, or I'm sorry, Saturday the 29th, 4 to 6 p.m.
Is
in
4 to
Kensington.
6 is the presentation.
No presentation, just open house, come as you
Community
are,
feedback.
community feedback kind of thing.
And the friend
And
that
then
walks there every
the
day.
23rd is the presentation of the designs.
Yes.
It's going to be the planting,
It's
the
gonna be
actual planting.
Okay,
yeah.
so on the 29th, they won't be talking about what possible designs there.
It's just going to be kind of open house, so all the designs will be there. Everybody, the designer will be there. Hopefully, Mario, the artist, will be there. The Water Smart people will be there. We'll all have tables, and you just kind of it's kind of come up and mingle, and
Put your sticky on
That's
the
what it's
design
like.
you like. the
it'll be a
most.
vote matrix kind of thing.
Got it.
Yeah, and I imagine I'm just imagining it'll be, this design, like shabby chic plant design, and it'll be like, here are the plants that you might happen. Here's the grasses that could be a part of this design, and but you'll be able to talk to the Denver Botanic Gardens gal and say, what could this look like? How could this work for my house? And the whole idea is to try and get people to start taking their own turf.
And the state is paying for all this and the irrigation and everything, so we don't have to.
I wonder, it's a good question if they're paying for the whole thing, but it's significant. I think it's $25,000, which is,
I know it just cost us a bundle to move the irrigation at Flanders, so we're not involved in the.
financially zero. But
We should have
I
more
do-
projects like that.
But I do think that there is what we're seeing here is by Art in Public Places participating in this and it being a community education piece that we're bringing in art people, but we're also bringing in community. We're also bringing in sustainability. And we're all trying to get all these different factions of the community around the same table, and it's happening through art. And so what might happen is if these turf reclamation projects are functioning and they're functioning well, and art is a pivotal part of that, you might expect to see some of these people coming to you and saying, we would like to start new art projects in places where turf reclamation is coming up, and maybe making a program out of it or maybe making something out of it. So while this is the pilot, you know why they call it the pilot? To see if it takes off. Okay.
We're here all
Like it? Yep, all here all night. But so while you can see if it actually works, then you may expect them to come to you.
Excellent.
Yeah, good partners though. Been good to work with.
Any other questions, anybody?
I think it's awesome.
That's a lot.
Yeah,
That's really a lot.
Mario's
happening
super
there.
excited. Mario's
Whoa.
super excited because this means mowers aren't going to be bumping into the sculpture.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Because those mowers, yes, I see them very frequently out there
They-
barreling around.
Oh, yeah, they have. They're
So
just,
next is gather enough people.
We are under contract.
No.
No kidding.
No.
News to me.
So it is going to be moved next month. And a
Okay,
part of that move will be the documentation of the removal and then an investigation of what it would cost to put it back again.
okay.
Put it back in the same spot.
No, it has to be
That's
somewhere
what
different.
To put it back in on the
Wherever we
causeway.
are.
Yeah.
Where
So-
are you moving it to?
A very secret location that is called the giant shed at Roosevelt Park. Because it's the only place in
That it
town that
fits.
fits.
Yeah,
But hey, luckily I'm a part we are a part of recreation, golf, and culture and library. And I was like, well, your facility, my facility. Hey.
So when you say it has to be documented,
Yeah.
We're on the task force, do you want us to do that?
When the day comes when they start taking it down and all of
We're
that,
just like taking
you're gonna
pictures
get
of-
you'll get a phone call and we're
Is
gonna
it
go out there and
Yeah.
meet with the guys who are gonna get their swampy pants on and walk into the swamp to go and look at it.
They're gonna break down the whole bunker.
Yes and no. They are going to salvage as much as they can while leaving a safe site for the public.
Yeah.
And I asked every question, well, what if we took apart the bunker and saved a bunch of the pavers, because I know those are expensive, and leave a giant hole, but we put a, really scary, fencing around it? No, Angela.
It's not gonna leave
You
a
are
hole.
not allowed to leave an unsafe site.
The mechanism is on the ground.
I know.
The bunker is just built up around it.
I know. It's
Well, I'll give my opinion when we're there.
all right.
so
There you go.
Yes, Miss Engineer.
So on behalf of Art in Public Places, when they ask me, I'm gonna say take as much as you can.
Yeah.
Because if we can reuse as much as we can reuse is only in our benefit.
Sure.
And if they say, that's not a safe space, and I'm gonna say, well, what do I need to do to make it a safe space? But we are limited on the dollars that are a part of the award contract. If we have to break that contract and add to the scope of work, then I'll be coming back to you to ask for more money. But at this point in time,
So
It is what it
is the money in that contract just for taking it down and storing it?
Correct.
Not for putting it back up?
correct. Because we don't, that's
Yeah,
what, so the first time, just to give you a little bit of history, because this has been going on for so long, when I first wrote the scope of work, I wrote it so to imagine what recreation and reinstallation would look like, and nobody bid on it, because the realization is nobody knows how much it's gonna cost.
Yeah.
They can't bid it out because they actually don't know what it would look like. Plus, inflation is upwards of 18% in some projects in the
Yeah.
city. Nobody's gonna take that risk, so nobody bid on it. So then I had to back it out, phase it, as in you're gonna take it down and you're gonna document all of the guts, all of the pieces, all of the parts, because we only have so much in the original collection file of how it was constructed.
Yeah.
Then maybe when we get it, because we're in the 21st century now and it's 20 years later, we can fix some of the problems to make sure that the mechanisms don't break all of the time or overtime or whatever that looks like, or it's fixable, and then figure out what the scope of work is going to be actually to recreate it. Then I will bid it out again, and when that day comes, before we go under contract with anybody, I'm gonna bring you back the big hairy scary number, and then that's when y'all are gonna have to make a hard decision.
Yeah. And we haven't heard anything from the Army Corps of Engineers.
Oh yeah, no, they're like, you best be getting it out.
Yeah. That's,
Oh no.
So it could be
it's-
within the next 2 years.
Yeah.
Yes!
Bingo.
No, I mean, I hear it is imminent, they are bidding, which means they're, but we're ahead of them.
okay.
So I'm not, yeah,
Okay.
it's happening.
Okay.
Anyway, you might be paying to store something that at the end of the day, you don't end up putting it back in. And that's the risk you were willing to take when we started this. And I think that personally, I think it's a good risk.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay.
So next is maintenance, and I have a question
Great.
for everybody here. How many of you have seen this year and taken a picture and submitted a form for every single one of the pieces of artwork that is on your maintenance list?
No.
How many people have done at least one?
Oh,
In the
No,
past year?
This
This
year's
year?
list,
Oh.
yeah.
Cause I did
Nice.
a bunch in January before I got cut up.
Awesome.
okay, more than my list.
I'd like to
Good.
say that I have 12 items and I have not done one,
Oh my gosh.
so
Okay.
I'm bad.
That's all right.
No,
Yeah.
sometimes
It's
I'm behind.
it's okay.
I'm behind now. I was really good the first quarter and now I'm way behind.
That's okay.
Way
You know,
behind.
when you're out, it would it be helpful if I actually printed the form and you have it with you?
No.
And like,
No, I
Nope.
don't print the form.
Okay.
Better just.
No,
carry
I
the
just,
iPad
my
around.
problem
Yep.
was
Yeah,
that,
me too.
my
like
problem
my
was that I'd
phone.
seen everything so recently that it was hard to make myself go again, but now it's been a year, so
okay.
I think that I can,
The other thing I was gonna say about the maintenance form is because I recognize that it can be a little hairy scary. But if it helps you to think about it in this way, if you are around a piece of artwork that is a part of the public art collection, even if it is or is not on your list, and you take a look at it and you think of it in 3 ways. Would I give it a thumbs up, a meh, or a thumbs down?
Mhm.
If the answer is a thumbs down, either go back with the form or send me an email. Because that's what the maintenance form ultimately gets at. Is it is a quantitative assessment of, kind of where we are. But if you're giving me a thumbs down, then that means something is broken, clearly wrong with it. The lights are out of Flor de Lano again. I just fixed it and they're out again,
Why does it
which
keep
means
going?
that
Yeah.
something's buggy
Buggy,
with it.
yeah,
Because we
something's
just
wrong.
we
The
just
shrubs and everything. It's
oh well
just
that's a whole
horrible.
nother
the
thing.
shrubs are, controlled.
Started on fire.
It would actually look better.
I agree.
The whole
I
thing just
made out of
burned
stone
it.
if you just
I
sprayed
just
on
burned
Thursday. Yeah.
With this,
Yeah.
Oh,
okay, I just went by there
It's
today, and I'm like,
high
I just wanna
energy
pull all
years.
those shrubs out.
Yeah.
They're all
It's
There's
Right.
a lot of
those
places that have
shrubs
shrubs
ninth
that
and
they
the
shouldn't be.
119.
They
It's
should
Flor de
just
Lano.
be gone.
It's the one
But
at
it
3rd and
years.
119.
So I'll send our friends at Parks because I never followed up on the shrubbery actually because we had volunteered as a commission to go in there with our own.
I just
Trimmers.
think it's
I remember that.
Yeah.
Also, they were doing maintenance, they said this year, we want that sign removed from
Yeah.
Rough and Ready and we
Which is
want this cleaned out.
That
Okay.
is terrible.
All right. Well, I will. I'll say that. But yes.
Mhm.
So anyway, think of it as the thumbs up, thumbs middle, thumbs down.
Mhm.
And even if thumbs down is the shrubbery is atrocious.
It's horrible.
The light, I fix it, it comes on, and then it's off again, or whatever. So if you think about it that way, if the answer is thumbs down, then you need to send me a note.
Mhm.
Easy enough?
Send Parks Department the picture that we have of it from when it was first installed, so
Oh,
that
yeah.
it's sunset, it's beautiful.
It is so
It
beautiful.
is so
But it wasn't
beautiful.
out of control. I mean, just get rid of
And
all
then
that
compare it to
stuff.
what it looks like now.
I know.
It's like, you guys, you're,
Well, and
Drop
it,
the ball.
it does. It will, and in fact, as we think about that, and we're putting in new Searscape around another piece of artwork, like that is something that we actually should
Yeah.
really think about and look
There
at.
are
And
Less
really
is more.
beautiful little plants that only grow this tall. I
Right.
have many of them
And
that
they're
don't need
green.
water,
so when you
Yeah.
come
They bloom.
on the 29th,
you know.
let's
so.
make sure that we say to Annie, hey Annie, what we're afraid of is,
For
things
bright
that
lights.
while now everybody's excited about it and now everybody's all about maintaining it and what that looks like, we know from experience that proximity to the artwork needs to be things that maybe don't grow
Right.
super tall
Yeah.
because we've had a bad experience other ways.
Minutes from you go Pines.
Right.
That's okay.
okay,
Awesome.
Kitely Park. I drove by there the other day and I was kind of surprised.
Why?
So the paint that we used for the ground mural is not holding up.
Oh,
Like-
shit.
Pamela, can you
And
fill it?
oh no.
No, I'm not going.
We're talking about the basketball court?
Oh, the
Yes.
brand new one?
The basketball
Yeah.
court.
Wait, is the one you were talking about?
Which it's okay because this is the whole reason that we did this project was we've been assured on the materials front that, you know, it was gonna hold up, whatever, what have you, and it doesn't, and I think that it's water that sits. So luckily,
What about the panorama on the sidewalks?
I don't know, I'm gonna have to walk it again,
The
but I
little
didn't have a
tiny bit
ton
that
of
I
time.
saw as I drove past looked fine.
Yeah.
So the
Sidewalk
sidewalk's
seems to be
good
better.
and
Well,
the
just the
basketball
little
court.
tiny corner that I saw looked
Yeah,
fine.
yeah,
Yeah.
good.
But
So-
the basketball court is wearing down where the kids are playing, I hope.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I have a couple of questions.
Yep. Okay.
We did not seal it, as I recall,
We
because
did not.
we were concerned about making it slippery.
We didn't.
I do not think that it will be slippery. When I felt the glossy wall
Yep.
in the 9th and Alpine,
Mhm.
it was, you could still feel the texture just fine
Right.
underneath it.
So luckily, through the 9th and Alpine, so just to back up a little bit, does everybody know about the 9th and Alpine whoops?
Yes.
Okay.
No.
So when the contractor who was to be graffiti sealing the, something happened. Jury's out what it is, but anyway, whatever the accident was, an entire can of graffiti sealant spilled onto the sidewalk and left a giant, all I could say is imagine if a giant did like snot and it went and looked like slippery snot, and then that's what dried and that's what it looked like. And so then I had to hire another contractor to come in and get the permanent graffiti sealant off of the concrete. And so he and I started chatting about materials. And the best thing that came out of that is I picked his brain about everything. And he said, I'll sit with you for days to talk about things. I said, well, that's great, because we've been experimenting with materials.
Can we sit in Kitely Park?
So he's gonna come with me. We're gonna take the spec sheet of the material that we use for Kitely. We're gonna look at the porous nature of the concrete that is the basketball court, and we're gonna talk about what we can do to put on top of it. But before we can seal it, we have to repaint it.
Really?
Some parts of it, it's not like the whole thing.
Well,
Sounds like not all of it.
The paint, is there
We
some
have
here?
backup.
Yeah.
I knew this was.
Oh, but I
I
mean,
knew this was getting happen.
well, you tried to announce we wouldn't deal with this for another 10 years.
Yeah.
You
Is it?
tried.
It, for all intents and purposes, for what I was sold, and interestingly enough, the material also has warranty.
That's what I was gonna say. So-
Woohoo!
Woohoo for you guys.
But we did. We prepared for whoops daisies. We prepared for having to touch up things. We knew that it wasn't going to be perfect, but if we sealed it on the beginning, then we would have never known.
Yeah.
But now we know.
Yeah.
So
Well, it was a test.
it was a
Yeah.
test.
It was originally,
Okay.
I mean, that was everything we kept saying about it is kind of, this is our groundwork of
Yes.
seeing how this.
I mean, I'm glad it broke down within 1 year. Imagine if it was 3 years from now, we would
the
be
texture
projects down the
that
road.
we paid we paid for that extra texture on the basketball court.
Yeah.
We were concerned that would be
Wiped out.
wiped out by the sealer, would be
Smoothed
just smoothed out, but
Yeah.
I don't think that's,
I don't think so either.
yeah.
What are you saying? Sorry.
Didn't you do a little swatch on the pavement, a little tester? How did that go?
Fine.
Just hasn't had enough, like.
That's why I think it's settling water.
Oh.
I think it's
Because
water
it's
that's
down in that-
cooling.
Yeah, because it's down in that little cavern.
But I don't know. And I was, so the artist went by and she was like, guess what? And I was like, oh shoot. So I went by, but I didn't have a lot of time to spend with it. So we're gonna document the whole bit and caboodle and things of it, and then we'll figure out a time. The other piece of this, which I would never say out loud, is that when we adhered it, it was very, very hot.
It was very
It was
hot.
insane.
It was very hot.
So
Yeah, the paint was
our
drying on the brush before we could put it down
our
practically.
adhesion temperature was, when it comes to specs and materials,
I think all that is really to our advantage.
Yeah.
To know, one, we've got a lot of climate change things going on, a lot more water, a lot more cold, a lot more heat, a lot more.
Yeah.
And that's not gonna change.
So are we gonna
So
have a,
this was,
sorry.
like we said, it was a test.
Yeah.
And these are things that we'll keep in mind.
Yeah.
Because we wanted to do other courts and we wanted to be able to do that, so
we're not gonna be able to do it in one weekend. We'll have to do it in the morning, and then we're gonna have to break,
Right.
and then we're gonna have, maybe in the evening, and then we're gonna have to come back the next weekend. Or maybe it's, the kids get to participate on the weekends, but it's more of the adult work, people that can come during the week kind of thing, so.
Are
Yeah,
we going
that's
to be
100%.
planning sometime this fall a painting party?
We'll have to, and it's gonna have to wait until this fall because frankly,
We have a
we're-
lot of stuff going here.
there's lots going on.
Yeah.
This fall. So maybe October.
Yeah.
October tends to be, it could snow, but
No,
you know,
but it's pretty
We'll have-
nice.
we'll have a
Yeah,
pretty
good.
good snowfall in October.
Could be.
Well,
Good.
okay, new business. Museum director.
So the museum director has been hired, and Eric Mason, who has been the curator of history here at the museum for over 20-some years, had applied for the first time. So he had been interim director 4 times, and so he applied, and it was, I would say, a very rigorous experience. I'm exhausted. I sat on the panel for 2.5 weeks, and so when you see him, tell him congratulations.
Oh, I did already.
Good.
Yeah.
I did too.
I asked him how the job was going. Are you having fun?
Yeah. So technically, he moves from across the hall into the office next door. Monday is when he officially takes on his role, and what that will mean for the museum, then of course, is the curator of history position will be open, and they may look at what that looks like because it's been the same that it's been for 20-some years. So I don't know what they'll do. So I'll keep you posted on that. But yeah,
Were there several applicants?
I went through 100 applications.
Oh, wow.
And I had to go through every single one, and then it wasn't just me, obviously.
Right.
It was 9 employees that participated, I think, in the hiring process. So there was a first stage of going through the applications and narrowing it down, so internal and external, and then there was a second phase of online discussion, and then that got narrowed down to then the in-person, and then we brought 3 applicants in and did 2 different panels with question and answer, and then there was an open forum with all staff, and all staff got to grill 3 applicants for a full hour. So yeah.
Interview process.
Yeah, quite
Yeah.
rigorous.
Oof. So when you see
Well, good for him.
see Eric, yeah, let him know. And then I took out Nino Gallo, but I'll have hopefully something for you next month. And then the training that we went through, which can we look at when that next training is? It
I
easy
think
for
it's
me to
on
find?
August 27th, something like that.
But we went through a fantastic training with Outboulder, and it was a citywide training that was so amazing. And
What's
just
the date of the next one?
we're looking at right now. But yeah, I don't know. I don't want to speak on your behalf or your behalf.
August 24th at 1 p.m.
And I will send that all to you.
So will that be here?
That will
It will
be,
No, I think it's in council chambers.
Okay.
they moved it here. Yeah, council chambers.
Yeah.
They may move it though. Then you don't think so?
Mm-mm.
No? Okay.
So this was a presentation on gender diversity, which was for all city employees, and obviously commissions were invited. And the presentation was by the director of Outboulder County. And it was really interesting and very informative, and the presenter answered all kinds of questions about themselves and other situations. And the main takeaway that I got really was that it's very important to be gender neutral, or and like put your own pronouns, like I know they're kind of tiny.
Well, and I was gonna say, I reprinted these, but I thought we could, as we are all comfortable of putting our pronouns and making sure that we are introducing ourselves with our pronouns.
So it's not just that like I have these pronouns that are my preference, but it gives permission for everyone to have their own pronouns, and it makes sure that there's no assumptions. No assumptions. So, and the assumption would be, oh, this person presents as female, so now I'm gonna refer to this person as female. Not necessarily, we don't know. So the main thing is to just be really neutral, and the presenter also gave some examples of like, when you see someone, like, ways to be very neutral about it. Great ways to be very neutral. So I thought it was really good. And another thing that they also mentioned is that it's very important to not tell people, oh, this is so hard for me. I know, I'm guilty too, I am. And it's another thing is they suggested not to say is, oh, I'm so sorry.
What?
No, because this is too dramatic. Like if I refer,
Sorry? For what?
It will be really important to go to the training, because I think that
I don't even say that to my dog.
well, you don't have to. Okay,
Right.
maybe you wouldn't do it, but if like if I said to you, oh, I'm going by they now.
Yeah.
Then probably if it was Pamela and I, Pamela would go, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But it's
Whatever
easy to
you
have a
want.
quick reaction of going, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know. And that's what's important to avoid,
Okay.
because it makes too much drama.
Yeah.
to like continue to move on, and that we're all to be more inclusive as boards and commissions, and to continue to diversify is to recognize that if we educate ourselves and we move forward as best we can and be cognizant that everyone makes mistakes, but you continue to move forward, that is the most inclusive environment that we can be. Because just because we intend to doesn't mean that we always are. And so brought up a handful, and as a mom who is raising kiddos in this environment of inclusivity and frankly having my kids in a community that isn't as thoughtful as Longmont, that I have more tools to empower my kiddos in being themselves and being their best selves, but also being super inclusive, and for them to educate the people around them and for them to speak their truth. So I encourage you all so much. Do you have anything to add on the training?
Just when you put yourself out there, like I talk to some people and they say, well, they know what my pronouns are. Why would I say them? It's like, it's because you are opening that door for anybody to express themselves.
Right.
And so it's not about you. It is about the community that we are trying to build. And if it doesn't hurt you, then why not do it? It doesn't, but again, it is totally up to your preference. I have a trans cousin, and they have been struggling, and it was super informative to go to this class, because I don't know everything, and I can't really ask them about everything that they're going through, because that's really personal. So I definitely recommend it if you are interested, but also just if you have time, because it's something that we are dealing with now and for the rest of the future. So
I mean, we've been talking about gender neutrality since the 60s. We have, for those of you that are a certain age, and and now it is really coming home. It is really coming home, and it has to do with not making assumptions, being respectful, and being inclusive. That's the bottom line of it all.
A smile goes a long way.
yeah.
Amen.
Yes.
So true. And then the last thing, which on new business I wanted to say, just to put it in there, canceling or rescheduling December 21.
Oh, okay.
People may or may not be looking at their holiday schedules.
Start thinking about that, and we'll talk about it next
Have a
month.
party.
Oh, so last time we had a party right at
Yeah.
that time.
Yeah.
We were like all elves, remember?
It was the week
No, it
before.
wasn't.
Well, it wasn't.
Didn't you have the art?
We had a holiday thing, but
This was
we either did it in December or we may have done it in
I
January.
think we did it in January.
Yeah.
So no, it was just in December.
Was I was
Yeah.
Well,
It's
this
hard to remember wearing a sparkly red jacket.
this year the third Thursday lands on the 21st, and I can tell you that is probably challenging for some. So anyway, just think about it.
Yeah,
And
we'll talk about it next month.
Fair enough.
So think about what your plans are.
Yeah.
What you want to do.
Okay.
And commissioner comments, anybody?
I had the one about the meeting time, so
Oh,
we're missing all the cool events at the museum,
We are.
and it's an hour.
It's 1 month, one Thursday of the month.
Yeah.
One
One
goes
Thursday.
on every Thursday.
Yes, one Thursday of the month. So I was just, and they tend, I think, to start at 7.
Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking, well, it'd be nice if we started our meeting at 5 and we wrapped up at 7 because we're kind of doing 6 to 8. Then we could do that.
That may work for some, but it may not work for others who are working. Some of us are working people.
Really?
Some of us.
Wow.
Not just me.
We're good.
No, it's not just me. Oh, and the other thing, I meant to say this, Laura Rutledge had to resign her post. So she's no longer commissioner. She's having a baby and is not able to with work schedule and such anymore. So, but some of the other people who aren't here, where's my list?
So now we're down to what, like?
Danielle and Nettie.
Danielle and Eddie. So I know that Danielle works
Danielle
as well.
works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right. She has a varied schedule too.
She makes the schedule, is what she told me.
Could we do 5:30?
5:30 to 7:30.
And we just,
Then that really wouldn't help because everything starts at 7. So I mean the painting and the concerts, they all start at.
Well, and
Being late to the concert is no big deal, but you couldn't do the painting.
When also Thursday is the day. There's no other day on Thursday.
yeah.
No,
Right.
it can be whatever day you want. No, you are the masters of the guidelines of art and public places, and that is one of those things that you could change. It is July, so this is the beginning of a term, right? You're at the beginning of a term. You don't have any new commissioners, but when everyone signed up to be a commissioner, you signed up for Thursdays, the third Thursday at 6.
Yep.
So I think before making a decision, I think putting it out to the full commission to get comments before making that decision is probably prudent.
Yes.
But if you have a different day, if it's here at the museum, we'll have to talk about staffing.
Right.
That's an expense to the museum, right?
Yeah.
So, but if we did start at 5 or 5:30, then that would not cause an extra.
Not on Thursdays.
No.
Thursdays here at the museum is intentionally evening programming.
Mm-hmm.
But like the library, for example, if we moved it to Wednesday and we had a meeting room at the library, then we could do that.
Yeah, I mean, I have to obviously talk to the library about suddenly hosting art in public places, that it impacts city facilities, no matter how you shake it, right? And it needs to be in a place where we can assure that public invited to be heard can attend. Like this room at this time, like this is not ideal, right?
Mm-hmm.
The other thing too about having Kaiser C is that we have all the technology already at our fingertips. So presenting in a different building maintains its own challenges. So
Teams aside. Teams and
well, and
Microsoft.
also like the cool thing with the dongle and the
Yeah.
This is only my second rodeo, so
So, but I don't know what you guys think. I would love to hear everyone's opinion.
I think it would be hard to change just my own opinion because it's been set on my calendar like it is for so long.
I would just say
So
that
I avoid
I'm-
other things
I'm-
and I've already changed other things that I do knowing that that third Thursday is dedicated to this.
Yeah,
So,
it's one Thursday a month.
So hard to change the day, but if we were to change the hour, would that also be a problem?
I don't know that changing the hour would make that much
changing it to
difference.
5:30 isn't gonna help because you still can't take any of the classes. You could be late to the concert. But I mean, if there's really a concert or a class you really wanna take, you can always ask to be excused.
You can.
Yeah.
Laura might say no.
Whoa.
I don't want to.
Jeez.
also I feel like if we move it
My
closer to
first priority
5.
is always to be here. But I'm bumped into Hazel.
Yeah.
There have been a lot of others that I've been.
Well, then go, run.
But so with the timing, we do have rush hour in this city, unfortunately, and we are right at Main and Ken Pratt.
Yes.
So it might be more of a pain in the butt to move it closer to rush hour time. Just FYI, especially people who are coming from work. Not that I have to go that far.
But I do avoid Main Street at all costs.
Yeah, me too. I just.
Martin's a winner. Martin is a win.
I don't.
People
either.
start complaining about traffic. Okay, when I lived in Austin, and it's been a while, it's been a few years since I lived there. I've heard it's even worse now. My yoga studio was 4.2 miles. It took me over 35 minutes to get
Where
there.
I living in Palo Alto or Cupertino,
People just don't go out of their houses anymore. In Austin.
So-
5 minutes as the crow flies, and it'll be 2 hours.
Is there suggestions that I should send out to like a inquiry or a vote to kind of give me your thoughts and feelings with an open field of yes, no, maybe kind of thing?
I personally, I like this time slot, and really, if my favorite band of all time was going to be on this third Thursday, I would ask to be excused,
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
you know?
Do you want to
But-
make a motion related to this, or does anybody have a strong feeling one way or the other?
Yeah, I would, I think keeping it, if I have to do something on Thursday, then I'll just call and say, Laura, I'll give you $5 if I don't have to come. to
No,
the
she
meeting."
can't take $5.
Oh, what could
She
Cookies.
needs
Chocolate.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Laura,
Cookies.
I'll give you chocolate and cookies if I don't have.
I'm not going to be there
You know what,
today.
Stephanie, I think we should revisit this again, like, at the beginning of the year, and see how people still feel about it when we're not, like, in the middle of the summer
Yeah.
season.
Uh-huh.
That's a good
When
idea.
they're doing the bands and everything,
Yeah.
like maybe like later in the fall or in the beginning of the year. Cause I think it's a valid question.
Yeah.
That we've always been here now, maybe we should flip it. We should think about maybe moving somewhere or doing another time or another day.
Right.
I would also say we will want to make sure that we look at the other advisory boards and commissions, because there's only 20 of them or whatever. The only one that we cross-pollinate with, oddly enough, is NGLA, right? So the National Neighborhood Guild, blah, 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 blah. So the peoples that we would probably want to see sometimes, they're the only ones that have a time in the slot. So other than that, Tuesdays are out because of city council. You'll never get a city council liaison.
Yeah.
And then, just the rest of the week, and no
We
one
kinda
ever does
went
commissions
through
on Fridays,
that.
so.
I mean, really, it
at
would
one
just be
point
Monday,
in
Tuesday.
securing the Thursday night.
Because it used to be
Looked at
the
all the
second
other
Thursday.
commissions
Yeah.
and what the commissioner, who was gonna be
Yeah.
our advisor, what they were able to do
Yeah.
too, and it was kinda like it kind of boiled down to that.
We moved from the second Thursday
Yeah.
to the third Thursday
Right.
because of sustainability.
Somebody else.
So, anyway, okay, revisit then.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
I need a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn.
I second.
Okay, all in favor?
8 p.m.
On the nose.